Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, February 10th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol BBAI. I've been tracking this one very closely. I think this is now either the third or fourth day in a row I've done it. But this thing just keeps breaking to new highs. So let's get some of these new levels mapped out. So first key level, nothing fancy behind the logic other than asking a very basic question. Where did the party finally stop today for the bulls? And that was right up there at about $9.30. So $9.30, you can see a couple times. Price tried to get up through there, couldn't quite do it. So that doesn't mean the price can't break through it. Just saying that it's become very straightforward. Of currently speaking, that's where the sellers have shown up for whatever reason. Kind of a random area, but it is what it is. As far as areas of support are concerned, the preferable area of support, meaning if you say, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price could stay up above that trend line right there. With that being said, if the price does not hold above it, it's not the end of the world or anything like that, because from the overarching standpoint, it's all about that purple line right there, the 50 period, simple moving average. Keyword being moving. So I understand the price is up here and this line's down here, but as time goes by, that line's going to move itself higher and higher. So it's basically like a trend line that's drawing itself for you. So from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, then the bull is 100% on the chart. But again, preferably speaking, if it could stay above that line, that would be better. But all in all, nice little wedge formation here, and we'll see if this upwards move continues into next week. Next one here, we have ticker symbol MGOL, and a nice looking pattern here. So let's just get this pattern drawn into play. We have the top part of the pattern right there. And let me be very clear. Got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line. Nothing fancy there, nothing complicated. And I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can certainly produce some very dynamic movement. So no guarantees, but certainly valid to think that if the price is able to push up through that level, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure. And then on the flip side of things, as far as supports are concerned, we have a nice little trend line down here. Let me change that to green to represent support. And then to make the pattern easier to see, let's just keep it all one color. So we have our area of resistance. We have our support. We have the big upwards move right there. And if you golfers try to make it a little bit more visual for you, put the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves a nice bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants and you like to play these sorts of price range out in the penny stock world, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, we have ticker symbol CDT and a very well-defined pattern here. I guess not well-defined because we're stepping a little bit outside the box, I suppose, because technically speaking, that is a trend or a moving average, but I'm going to use it as a trend line. That is a very famous 200 period moving average. So if we just pretend this is the trend line, so I'm going to draw it down here, and then we factor the bottom part of the pattern right here. We have this nice overall wedge here, and I suppose if you wanted to use the lows up to where it went right there, we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. But the point here that at least stands out to me most is you have, once again, a very well-defined level. So self-fulfilling prophecy, call whatever you want. When you have those well-defined levels and a lot of people are watching them, more than valid to think that if the price were to come up here and break out through the top part of the pattern, which again, if it were to break out, that's technically breaking through that 200 period moving average, that break right there could, definitely generate some good solid upwards buying pressure. So all in all, keep an eye on that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. I think that'll be kind of the main battleground to watch moving forward, and we'll see if the price can push up through there or not. Next one here, we have GSIW and another very well-defined pattern here. So let's just get this drawn into play. Got to think a lot of people have drawn a trend line very, very similar to that. And then on the flip side of things, we have this downwards trend line right there. And yes, I'm going through this a little quicker, but you've already heard me talk about this, or this pattern, I should say. So I want to try to respect your time as much as possible. So we have an area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have the nice upwards move right here. And yeah, you guessed it, we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So no guarantees, but more than valid to think that the price were to come up here and break up through there, that break in and of itself could very well create an upside buying pressure and just create that much more momentum in the bullish direction. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, then definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, we have NVDA, and this will mean more to those that have watched the past videos, but if you have, then hopefully remember me. Well, let me actually do this just so I can set up more context here. We have been inside of this big old sideways channel, just back and forth. The price has gone back and forth, and I've been talking about how the price was getting close to the top part of the channel, but it was a double whammy of resistance because not only did you have the top part of the pattern right there, that red line, but you also had the 200 period moving average. And sure enough, as of right now, this has been a very stubborn area. I mean, it's been trying to get up through there, but ultimately that pink line there has rejected the price time and time again. Good news is the price is essentially closing right below that level. So assuming there's no gap down over the weekend, it's looking like the bulls will resume that battle headed into next week. So yes, technically speaking, the price has not been able to really get any sort of clearance out through the top part of this channel pattern, but the price continues to grind higher and higher. It continues to put in higher lows, and that's ultimately what you want to see. But yeah, the big event for NVIDIA, and this is, again, no great discovery on my part. A lot of people are watching this, is this dynamic right here. Will the price finally be able to push through moving forward? We'll have to see what happens. Real quick, I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about the tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on my site, then there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching on YouTube, there's an area right down in the description box that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, ticker symbol PLTR. And the beast move continues on this one. It just continues to grind higher and higher. Although I am going to go ahead and call for more of a pullback, and that is based off of the technical pattern here. Now, when I say pullback, before you lose your minds, I don't mean like a massive crash. But we have this area of resistance right here. Then we have that area. Honestly, I thought that was going to be more of a rising wedge. Now, let me put a green there for support. So yeah, maybe not. I thought that was going to be, like I said, way more dramatic of a rising wedge, but from the naked eyeball test, I was wrong. There is still, like I said, a slight rising wedge there, but nothing that I would call major. But regardless, there's clearly some downwards pressure that has shown up. So I don't think there's anything crazy to think the price could very well come down to the bottom part of that trend line. And then when it gets down there, that's where the big question comes into play. Does the price continue to fail? Does the price get a bounce? Both of those are very logical and valid situations, which is why risk management matters, because somebody's always going to be right, somebody's always going to be wrong. But nonetheless, I personally think that trend line is going to play a role, and will serve a purpose next week. But again, to be transparent, I kind of miscalculated that one, thinking that was going to be more of a rising wedge than it actually is. So if there is any sort of curl back upwards, then yeah, that line right there is going to be the main area of resistance. But more of the story here, PLTR, very, very strong. It's got a very, very modest, mild rising wedge pattern, but overall, I'm not nearly as bearish as what I was when I was originally just looking and thinking what the pattern actually was. Next one, RGTI, and this one is going to be, I think, going to be an interesting next week due to the pattern that formed today. So let me just draw this into play. And we have a bear pennant pattern. I know we've had bull pennants, and I don't think I mentioned it, but just because there's a bullish pattern doesn't mean for sure the price is going to go up. The inverse is also true. Just because there's a bearish pattern doesn't mean the price is going to for sure go down. But as of right now, this is looking like, in my opinion, a good likelihood that the price breaks down and at least does battle with this area of support right here at the 1235 area. Now, what does it do there? We'll have to see. I could see it getting more continuation, but like I said, when you factor in today's movement with the bear pennant forming, I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the price carry down some more. Then it just becomes a question of how much continuation to the downside could the price get. Although, to be fair, maybe I'm totally wrong, and if I am, this thing's going to keep battling back. First key battle point is going to be right there, that pink line there, 200 period moving average, which you can see has rejected the price a couple times there. And if the price can push up through there, next key battleground up there, that purple line there, the 50 period moving average. But if I were to force to summarize it headed into the weekend, bear pennant would be the most accurate description. Next one here, UBER, Uber had a monster day today, and now we have a very nice pattern here, and nothing that you haven't heard of before. And when you have relatively popular stocks such as Uber, with well-defined patterns, those talking points of self-fulfilling prophecies become that much more potentially valid. So let's just get that to green, and then because I can't help myself, let's keep it the same color. Oh, that was a terrible line. Let's try again. There we go. Resistance, support, big move there. Golf hole down here. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants on well-known stocks, maybe you trade options or what have you, definitely keep an eye on Uber. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and the bears remain in control. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these resistance levels because at this point I think there's a much cleaner way to just gauge the resistance, gauge the overall health of the bears, because the bears are in full control. and that is to simply use, no pun intended, the 50-period simple moving average. You can see back here, price got, near it and then fell back down, and then right here, technically speaking, got slightly above it, but that didn't last very long at all, and then back down the price went. So moving forward, I'm not saying there cannot be bounces. Of course there can be bounces. My key point is just because it's a bounce, I'd be very skeptical of it until it can prove itself. How am I defining proving itself? By getting above and staying above that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level because, like I said, there have been plenty of bounces. So it's not a question of, well, is this thing ever going to make any moves up? There's a nice bounce, rejected. There's another nice bounce, moving back down. So can it bounce again? Absolutely. But again, in my opinion, be skeptical until the price can get above and stay above that purple line right there. In terms of next potential areas of support, let's get this trend line here that I think could play a role. So we have this downtrending trend line right there. So keep an eye on that. I don't think it would be too shocking at all to see the price come down there and potentially get a bounce off it. But again, even if it bounces off the trend line, that doesn't mean it's the same as a reversal. Sure, bounces can turn into reversals, but bounces can also just simply be dead cat. So keep an eye on that dynamic. But yeah, definitely a pretty bearish chart right now for Tesla. Next one, CYTH, and I really like this pattern quite a bit just based on the context. Context being huge move up and then a nasty, nasty pullback. And when price movements get to this area, it becomes very valid to say, uh-oh, is this just a gap and trap? Or is this just a pump and dump? And for those of you that have more experience, then you've seen situations. Maybe you've been caught in some where a great move happens and then it just gives everything up. But that is not what happened here. At that point, it finally leveled out, and not only did it level out, it's actually got a nice little upward slope to it. And that's the pattern that I want to get in. So while there's nothing is still guaranteed, it becomes a whole lot more valid to say, okay, maybe the pullback is over. Maybe this thing is starting to show some signs of strength again. And getting ready to make another move in the upwards direction with that key area right there around the $1.16 mark. So essentially, we have a nice little ascending triangle pattern here, but the context is what matters. It is still a bullish context, even with the pullback. So it's shown it can move, and now it's just a question of, can this thing get another move up? Is there going to be another second breath of life? And to be fair, I mean, it's not like the price even, from a trading standpoint, that is, it's not like the price even has to go up there in order to have a potentially profitable trade, because that's a whole lot of wiggle room. Now, if it were to revisit those highs, that would be even better. But all in all, definitely a nice little setup here, and we'll see if the price can indeed get an upside break of the wedge. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool and how it can and should be used, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, February 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. And as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, as always, if you enjoy, please hit that like button. And a super free and easy way to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really does help out. So thanks for watching. Make sure you get signed up for the free class and have a great weekend.